The audience is always interested how tricks are done. And there's the magician's code that magicians do not explain tricks. Now for today, I have got a special permission that I will show you a small trick and explain to you how it is done. So you go to learn something. For this little trick, I have here a page out of a newspaper. It's a Swiss newspaper. Only watches and stock market news. No politics. I take the paper and tear it up once in direction north-south. I put one half on the other. I tear it up direction east-west and direction west-east. We take another time the newspaper, we tear it up. We put all the pieces together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. And now comes the most important. What is it? Salt. We blow twice, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, newspaper together again. That's the trick. That's the trick, and now comes the explanation. Madam, if you are a little bit clever, you can do it tonight at home. Okay. If you have no other program. She has. So, ladies and gentlemen, for this little experiment, we do not need no one newspaper, we need two of them. Two newspapers, and they have to be exactly from the same edition. One newspaper we put down on the table, and the other one we have to fold up. In French, you say il faut le plier. In Italian, piegare. In Espanol, doblar. And in German, fold up. Muss man zusammenfalten. You fold up once in the middle. The second time, you fold up here. In English, not in American English. In English, in the upper third. Once more in the lower third. Once more in the middle and once more in the middle. You make 5 foldings like I have made now. And now, very important, watch it. Here on the corner must be a letter W. I go to fold up once more and once more. We make a small pack like this one. This pack we have to hide. It's not so difficult. We take it, we put it in the right hand, we bend the fingers forward so we're able to hold it. Now, we take the other newspaper and show it. Right hand always like this, never like that. Once you tear this up, you put this on top of it, be very careful. Second time, the whole newspaper in your right hand. Third time, the whole newspaper behind the pieces. Now comes the most important movement. From your right hand, you take the whole newspaper, you put it on the back, and you fold the pieces together in front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. It's no more so difficult because you have in one hand, in the front the pieces, on the back the whole newspaper. You have to turn it. Allez up. In the front the whole newspaper, on the back the pieces. Now, if you want, you can put a little salt. Doesn't matter. Open the newspaper once, a second time, and the third time, but be very careful. You're holding here the pieces. You must do it very fast. You take the piece over in your right hand, you show the newspaper. Right hand always like this, like that. But if you are a really, really good magician, blow on the pieces, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you haven't learned anything. Ladies and gentlemen, we come now to the newspaper trick. This trick has a very long history. I learned it in 1940 in Berlin. In Berlin, there was the famous firm Konrad Horster, and Mr. Horster liked me, the young man who at that time was 17 years old, and taught me this newspaper trick. This newspaper trick is different than the ones which are nowadays shown, but I loved the system and I kept it for a lifetime. You need for this trick 5 newspapers from the same edition. 2 of them you have to prepare, and I will show you how the preparation goes. You take this newspaper, number one, and fold it about 1/4 of an inch above the middle. This folding has a special reason. First of all, the package which you make gets smaller. Second of all, when you open up the newspaper, it does not tear by accident. 1, you fold like this. 2, you fold like that. 3, you fold like this. Now you fold it about 1/4 of an inch below the middle line. You fold it one more time in the middle and one more time in the middle. When you have made this size of a package, you have automatically down here a pocket. You fold this now down like this and tuck the end of this package in here, in that pocket. The explanation is that you get a package which is about the size of your hand and very easy to handle. Now it has to be glued on the next newspaper, and I'll show you how to use the glue. What you use is Elmer's glue, normal Elmer's glue. You take the glue and pour it out and make it not the whole thing, just up, over, down, over, up, over, down. This way of putting the glue has the advantage that not the whole thing sticks on the newspaper, just a part of it sufficient to hold the package. Now, we take the package and put it exactly in the middle of the left page of the newspaper. Put that down, and very important, pull up that middle fold. So the middle fold will be like this. At home, when we do this preparation, I have one prepared now. I hold it like this, and my wife Rita comes with a hair dryer and dries it, so it dries on fast and without any wrinkle from the outside to be seen. So we have here a piece of newspaper with a package behind it, which is this one, which I have made now. Yes, the package does not stick yet because it needs a new few minutes. I have here another one already prepared, which is the package on the back. Before the show, I have to make 2 of these newspapers, one for the first tear and the second for the explanation. They are put together in the following manner. We have one newspaper with nothing, one newspaper with a package in, and another newspaper with a package in. Yes? We take number 1 with the package in, fold it up in the lower third, in the upper third, and before I fold it, I tear in a little bit the top of the newspaper, just about ½ an inch. This is for the following. When I later on hold the newspaper and tear it up, it tears right away. I have not to give it any special effort. It tears because it is pre-torn up here for this little bit. 1, I put it down. Now comes the second one, which is exactly prepared like this. The one newspaper goes over it, and the whole thing comes folded 1/3 in a stack like this. First one, the glued one, number 1, for the first tear. Second one, for the explanation, outside the simple paper, inside the one with the part glued on it. I'm starting with number 1. I'm showing the newspaper. I say, ladies and gentlemen, a newspaper from Switzerland, only stock market news. I hold the newspaper, I tear it up. When I tear it up, you can see this package is hanging here without doing anything. You cannot notice its existence is not there. You tear it up like this. The whole package here. You put this on top, you tear it down, the whole package behind. One more time, tear down. Put the pieces together. Now, move this flap over the package, tear up one more time, and put the pieces together. Now, I show it to you from the back. Let's say I'm facing the audience here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, here are the pieces, and I put the salt on it. When I put the salt on it, I turn it around and open up. And when I open up, it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is the first tier. I hope it is clear. Now, the second tier. The explanation. I say, ladies and gentlemen, I have here 2 newspapers. This is the one which the glued-in part. I put it down on the table. I take this one, fold it up once, twice, 3 times with all the explanation. Up, over, and make a pack of this size. Put it in my right hand, and now grab the other newspaper. When I grab it, we have the package hanging in here. So I take it, I tear it up. When I tear it up and I put this on top, I show the audience that the whole piece is here. Number 2, go down, the whole piece is here. Number 3, go down, the whole piece is behind the pieces. Now, one more time, tear up, take the whole package from your right hand and put it on the back. Fold the pieces together in front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. The audience believes I have the pieces plus the package I showed. In reality, I have the pieces in front, behind it the glued-on package, behind it the real package. I give the whole thing a turn, hop. The glued-on real package, the glued-on whole newspaper is now in front. The before showed and palmed one is in the back, and in between are the pieces. I'm opening up once, twice, a third time. I say, attention, don't show this. The audience doesn't see that this is in reality 2 packages. It is the pieces plus the extra package. You pull it over. I show it again like if the audience would be here. Move it like this. And like that. Now I say, ladies and gentlemen, always hold like this, never like that. The audience believes these are the pieces. I put this together under my armpit, open it up, and show that the pieces are together as well.
Got the National Enquirer here on the floor. How many of you good people read this fine publication? Wow, let me make this easy for you. I didn't ask how many of you buy it. How many of you stand in a checkout line and read this stuff? Come on, tell the truth. And I read this paper because I want to know where Elvis is going to be next. And just between you and I think after that Lisa Marie Michael Jackson marriage, I think he might have really died. What do you people think? Well, if that didn't kill him, Pat Boone and Leather Pants did. Stuff is ridiculous. Pit Bulldog for sale, eats anything, loves kids. It's not written right. Speaking of kids, there's a story in here from Naples, Italy. A little boy was born with a mustache. Mother said she was tickled to death. Hey, from Los Angeles, California, a man was found shot, stabbed, poisoned, and hanging in his apartment. Police suspect foul play. And on a personal note, I'm a little upset today. My wife has flushed my Viagra down the toilet. And now we can't get that toilet seat lid to go back down. You know? Hey, it's not for everybody. I gave one to my lawyer. All it did was make him taller. I'd like to show this audience right now a magic trick that was shown to me many, many years ago by a European magician. And just between you and I think quite possibly this guy might have been French, just by the way he performed his magic. But nonetheless, this is the kind of stuff I like to perform for an audience maybe once, twice a day. And you know why that is? I have found that most people really enjoy good magic if it's performed really, really well. Did you like that? What I used is the National Enquirer. And I use the National Enquirer because it just lends itself to comedy. There's plenty of stories in here. There's usually a lot of things that are very, very funny about the National Enquirer. So this is my the way that I make my newspaper. First thing you have to do is you have to use two Enquirers. Now I'm going to talk about the uneven, what I call the uneven Enquirer tear. But I'm going to take the top sheet because it's the cover sheet. It says Enquire on it. And that's going to be my cover. Now I thumb through the Enquirer, and what I'm looking for in here is a page that I'm going to make a cover with. So I have to make a matching page, and I'm looking for something that has maybe a cross line in it like this. This particular page right here looks like it'll be an excellent piece. I'm going to take that out right now. All you need is rubber cement, a pair of scissors, and you're ready to do a miracle. I take the second piece of paper, and I'm going to cut it. And if you notice, I'm leaving a margin. I'm cutting it away from the center. You don't want to get it too close to the center. You'll see why in just a moment, because when I match these up, see, this piece is going to go right over this piece. This is going to be the sheet that's going to have the pocket in it to hide the pieces. Now that's how this is done. So first I take my glue, and if you watch this, I'm going to make an L shape. It's going to go all the way around. I'm going to use just a little bit of rubber cement here, and I'm just going to glue this from about the midpoint right up to the edge. I go right to the edge, then I'm going to go all the way down the side. Now, my friend John Thompson, his wife Pam, uses a glue stick. I think you've seen these things that come in a bar. You push them out. They've got glue on them. I've always preferred, and it's funny, I think it's what you're used to using. This is what I used when I first started. In fact, I don't even think they had glue sticks back in '75. But it's a lot faster for some people to set up their papers. Now I come all the way halfway up. If you notice, halfway up. Because I need this corner right here I'm going to make a pocket out of. So now this is glued all the way around. I double check that to make sure that there's plenty of glue on there. You can always wipe this off later. Now very carefully I'm going to line up this corner with this corner. I always start with my upper left-hand corner. Make sure that that's lined up perfectly. And I'm going to lie that down so that I don't have any wrinkles in it. And I'm just going to, and I push away so that the glue goes to the outside. Again, it's rubber cement. It'll ball up. And you just keep brushing it like that with your hand, and you'll notice that it'll stick very nicely. Also, it'll give you an edge, so it looks just exactly like the edge that's in the National Enquirer. Now, once this is done, I brush off all my excess glue. And I very simply turn this over. Now I've got the front sheet. Now I put a little crease in here. This is going to be my restored piece of paper. Now what I've done is I fold it exactly down the middle, in the middle like that. So now I've got my Enquirer folded in half, and then I've got it folded in half again. So there's the Enquirer. Now I take this upper corner and I bend that back. This is the cover. This is where the restored pieces are going to go. Now I push this up, and now the glue should come right to the edge. As you see, I'm pushing off the glue on this side and on this side. Now what I've got is I've got a little pocket here. And this is where the restored pieces are going to go. They're going to be hidden at the end of the trick. Now, for the sake of handling on stage, I will bend this over, and I will take the back page, as you can see the back page, and I'll just put a little fold in there. I put a 45-degree fold right there. This is, and you'll see why in just a moment, this allows me to get to it. Now this is what I call the restored piece. Now I fold this again. Now it's quartered. Okay, here's the pocket, and I'm going to fold it one more time. Now be careful that you keep this creased tightly, because you've got this one little bar right here, this one little piece, and you don't want that to double up on you. So you fold this over, and you match the edges. Now, this is your cover sheet. This is the piece that we're going to hide. Now, years ago, I believe, and I hope I'm giving credit correctly to Tony Slidini, I think John calls this the Slidini cover. Again, I'm going to remove these paper clips. Okay, here we go. Now I'm taking my top sheet off. Now I want to go right back and find the exact same page that I'd used before. Let's see if we can find that here real quick. I'm going to use this same page because what I'm trying to do is I want to match this up. I want to match up the cover. There it is with the frogs. So I'm pulling this sheet out right here. Now, this time, I'm not going to use the entire sheet because I don't want this paper to be, this is the paper that's going to be torn up. I don't want this to be too thick. It's very important that it's not too thick for handling purposes. So I usually take it, let's just use this line right here because there's already a natural line in there. I'm going to cut straight down that line. Now sometimes if you thumb through the Inquirer, you'll actually find sheets that are just a little bit more than halfway, which is what you need, and that's what we have here. I'm going right down the same exact border line, cutting that down nice and straight. We'll disregard this. Now, this is going to be the cover, and this is where I'm going to hide my restored piece. Now to do this, this time I'm going to glue here to here to here to here so that this piece can cover it like that. So again, a little bit of glue. And again, I know that for those of you out there, there's many, many newspaper tears. I know Robert Bax has got a great one on the market right now. His works for his purposes. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave this piece right here. I'm not gluing it, but I'm using it as a guide so that I know exactly how far down to go with my glue and where to cross with it. I always like to go a little bit over the line and a little bit above it of this line right here so that I get a nice match and a nice tight package. Now I'm going to bring this up a little bit closer. I want to leave about 4 inches between the top piece of glue and where the bottom one comes together, right here. Now watch how this comes together. I take this particular piece, again with great care to make sure that I match my corners here, and I just lie that right down on top of it. Now I'm pressing this out. See, the glue is smearing out, and the glue will smear out and down. Now when you get done with this, a lot of times you may have a flap. Now I'm a little more particular about this. I will go back with just a touch of glue, bring it down here like this to double seal that. Now I'll press that out. Again, it's rubber cement. And as you can see, as I brush that along, all that, this is your cover, so you want all of this glue to come off. You don't want to be on stage, you don't want to open up your newspaper, and all of a sudden when you go to open it up, it's stuck together because it's stuck to the other side. This is detail that you have to see. Some people I know will actually take baby powder, Johnson & Johnson's baby powder, and just put a little bit of that over the top, and it kind of it makes the paper slick, and it also gets the rest of that glue off of there. Now, as you see, I blow in there, and I've got a little pocket. To get rid of the excess glue, because sometimes it'll bleed over, I just blow in there and rub with my finger until I have all of that excess glue off of both sides. I want this only to be about 4 inches wide right there. If you notice, this will match this. Now, once that's completely done, watch what I do. Here's my paper. When it gets restored, I want it to be up. So this is all you have to remember. See the V right there? The V goes to the bottom. Freeze. As you can see, what I've done is when I fold this, I keep this is the bottom part. So this is going to slide right directly, and sometimes you want to fold this. You don't want to tear either side of this. So I just kind of fold it a little bit and slide it right in there. Now this piece will fit nicely in there. Gives me a little margin on the top, a little margin on the bottom. And what I like to do when I'm done is just give it a little press, make sure that fits flatly. Now I take my paper. I will, again, this is for the sake of tearing. I'll put a nice tight crease in there. Then I'll fold it over one more time. Put another tight crease in here because these creases are going to be the tear creases. And remember, if you can score your newspaper just a little bit before, it makes it a lot easier when you go into, now I'm folding it again towards me, and now I've got this 1 inch margin here, I fold that over. Now this will fit usually in most pockets, and of course on on my show jacket, I have a pocket on the right-hand side. Just for the sake of explanation, I'm going to put this in. But as you notice, the part that has the pocket right here, I'm going to put that on the downside. That way, when I pull this back out of my pocket later, this is the smooth edge right here. I won't accidentally catch this corner and tear that pocket open. So now this goes down. This goes into the inside like so. This is inside of my jacket. Now, the way that I've used the newspaper in my show, if you notice on the video, is I have an explanation. I have a reason for doing this. I've only had a couple of people come to me and say, hey, you know what, that's a great idea. When I take Bob the bird and I place him on the stool, as you saw in the video, I come back over and I have a reason now. I come back in my pocket and I say to the audience, I'd like to show you people the proper usage of a National Enquirer. Now I open this paper up and as you can see, it looks like a single sheet of paper. Yet there's my pocket, there's my hidden paper. I cover this with my hand. I transfer this to my hand like this, and as I put this on the floor underneath the bird, which gets the laugh, this is another, it's not a big laugh, but it's just it looks like I'm doing something legitimate. I'm protecting the floor. I'm putting a piece of paper underneath my bird in case there's an accident. Now, as you notice, the pocket is facing away from the audience. Now, this is sitting here. I go through the rest of my act. We say goodbye to Bob the bird. The bird is gone. Now I come back. I can pull my sleeves up. I pick the Enquirer up off the floor, and I start my patter on how many people actually read the National Enquirer. Gives me a reason to pick up the paper. Now I'm doing my patter. I'm doing my jokes. And as I'm doing that, I'm sort of incidentally tearing the newspaper. And as you can see, this looks very innocent on both sides. Now, this is the one I have in control with my left hand. And I always like to clip it like this. That way, if I turn this way, no one can see the pocket here. No one sees the pocket on this side. It's always covered, and I always have control over it with those two fingers right there. Now I pick up the next piece of paper, which is in this hand, and as I'm talking, I place the one that has the pocket on top, okay? So now that's on top. Now as I'm talking, I fold this away from me. I bend this over. I don't fold it this way because I want that pocket, I want to be in control of that pocket. That's my restored paper. So I fold this away from me like this, and I give it another little crease with my fingers. Again, no one can see this because my hand is covering it. Now when I fold this over, that's not going to go all the way because this restored piece is a little bit more than half because it's already tucked in there. And I only have it tucked in maybe 1/8 of an inch. Now I fold this over, and now I control it by holding it like this, and I give that a nice tight pull like that. Now I tear that straight down. Now this again goes underneath because this is my restored paper. I want to keep control of it on top. Now as I come up, my thumb goes inside, and I reach over here, and I tear off the cover. I just tore the cover right off of there. So this is just like that. I reach over here, I tear the cover off, but the audience doesn't see that. I'm here. Now I bring this piece up, and I put it on the back side. At the same time I do that, here's my restored piece. I slide it down with my thumb into this position. Now I'm going to turn this clockwise this way, and I fold the papers over again. Now my restored piece is actually in full view. As you can see, that's the restored paper. That's actually in full view. And now very openly show this like this because you cannot detect it. I place the pieces on the bottom. Now as I fold this over again, I fold it over and I grab it with my thumb. Now I've folded this in half. That's my restored piece right there. The restored piece is in control, and I have it right there on my thumb. Now I come back up and I tear this one more time. Now I have all these pieces and I can show them. Now as you saw in the video, everyone has a different way of restoring their paper. I always thought it was funny to lick the paper. Now here's the entire what? I turn this around in this position and I'm ready to restore the paper. Now the line that I use is I say, I saw this, I learned this years ago from a European magician. Now as you can see, as I open up, here's now my restored piece. Here's all the torn pieces right here. So now I've opened this up, And now I have to I just bend that down from the audience's view for just a second, and I reach over here so I can get my fingers between the paper because I'm about to flip this up. Well, what I use for misdirection, as I say, I saw this from a European magician, and just between you and I think this guy might have been French. Now there's a laugh there. Now I come straight up with this, and as I do that, now I move these pieces up into that open gap because this is where they're going to go eventually. Now I've got control of them. Again, I'm like this. This hand is clean. Now, all I have to do is find the front half of the paper. I just peel it and then let the paper open by itself. And I do this one last move, go like that, which gives me the excuse with my hand to open that pocket up, slide those pieces in there, and turn the whole thing around in one move. Again, the pieces are in there. I'm controlling them like this. I very simply do this lick, and as my hand comes across, I pull that up, and at the same time, I'm turning this around to the audience so they can see exactly what's going on. Now, as I open the paper up, you see nothing there because all the pieces are in this pocket that my hand is covering. Then I turn it around like this. It's completely covered, and then the last, I go like this. Now, the beauty of this is now you take the paper, you fold the paper back up, just the way it came out of your pocket, and you stick it right back in your pocket, and you're clean, and that's the newspaper trick.